Metcalf, we are going live stream right now.
There we go. Thank you. Welcome everybody to the Autonomy Region Conservation Authority regular board meeting of August 15th. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 4:02 p.m. As we do that, we respectfully acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to First Peoples for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. Before we get too much into the formal part of our meeting, we have quite an important recognition to make tonight. Today marks the Denise Landry will be retiring, and tonight's board meeting is the last meeting for Denise with the authority, and she retires after 26 years of dedication and commitment to the autonomy conservation. So Denise, I think we'll all sort of do a clap.
Denise,
Congratulations.
do you want to turn your camera on?
She probably doesn't, but there she is.
Minutes together, so well, thank you very much. I will miss everybody. It's been a good 26 years. I'm very proud of everything that we've done, and I wish everybody all the best. I think, we're a great company and we'll continue to be.
Yes, thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
I have a few more words for you. You don't get off quite that.
Oh, I thought you were done.
She's seen many changes and opportunities during her 26 years, including moving into the current administration building, changes in financial accounting procedures, technology, special projects, and numerous enactments of provincial policies. To share a few. Denise served as acting CAO during staff transitions and also served as chair of Conservation Ontario's Insurance Benefit Committee for many years. So Denise, I know we gave you a clap, but on behalf of the board of directors and the staff, we'd like to express our sincere gratitude and our appreciation for all of your time and your longstanding service with the association. And we wish you all the best in your health and your happiness for your retirement, Denise.
Thank you. I'm gonna cry. Thank you.
Okay, you can turn your camera off.
Well, you might want. Are you meeting Jennifer next, or
We are.
Okay.
At the same time, come on right into the screen. Huddle together. There we go. At the same time, to welcome Jennifer Eagleton as our new manager of corporate services. Jennifer started with Autonomy Conservation back in July and has been working closely with Denise over the past few weeks, learning all the ins and outs of the organization. Jennifer comes to the authority with over 15 years of experience in financial management, human resources, and administration. She holds several diplomas from Fleming College. And please, everyone, let's join in welcoming Jennifer to our conservation team. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm very excited for this opportunity. It's going to be challenging to try and fill Denise's shoes, but I will take this honor gracefully. And Denise has been wonderful trying to transition from her retirement and me taking over. So it's been great. Thank you so much.
That's great. We'll have a lot more interaction to come. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
That moves us to our approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve this evening's agenda? Director Wilford, Director Boyko, all those in favor? And that is carried. Do we have any disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest? Seeing none. We have no delegations this evening. And that moves us to our 2024-033 minutes of the meeting held June 20th, 2024. They have been circulated with some edits. Could we get a motion to move those minutes? Director Baldwin, Director Black, is there any discussion or any coming from those minutes? Seeing none, motion to approve. All those in favor? And that is carried. Don't believe we have any business arising from them. Seeing none. That moves us to part B of our agenda, reports for approval. And our first report is 2024-034, our floodplain mapping implementation plan 2024. And I will pass it over to our CAO to introduce this report.
Thank you, Chair Metcalf. So the floodplain mapping implementation plan 2024 in front of the board tonight has been updated to include work that has already been completed in previous years, work that is due to be completed in such as Byersville Creek and Jackson Creek downtown, and also includes finally OREG 4124, which came into effect on April the 1st of this year. In addition, there have been some recent floodplain mapping completed in a neighboring CA, which has triggered Autonomy Conservation to also update our implementation plan. There are a number of reference documents utilized in the floodplain analysis, and staff will continue to use best practices such as 2D modeling and climate change modeling to help guide their work. On page 15 is the prioritization matrix with the scoring of the various floodplain mapping initiatives. And on page 19 is the floodplain projects that staff are proposing over 2024 to 2028. Staff will continue to apply for flood hazard identification and mapping program grants, so FIMP grants, and we will continue to partner, communicate, and work collaboratively with our member municipalities. Staff are seeking approval of this report, and I'm happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jeanette. Is there any comments, questions, or discussion on this report? Director Black?
Thanks, Jeanette, for the reports for you, Chair. The ones that have been completed already, are they available to the public through the website? I didn't get a chance to look. I know there's a couple in Selwyn Township that have been done, the Race Creek and the Lakefield area, something. Yeah, are they available on the website for people to look at?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. So yes, the public, once the board approves the actual floodplain mapping for regulatory purposes, it is updated through that portal on our website. And that portal does see a lot of activity. It's well used. It's well liked by our residents in our watershed. They really just need to plug in their address into that mapping, and it can really provide a lot of detail for people's properties. So we really do encourage residents to use that. So
Great,
yeah, the answer is yes.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you, Director Black. Is there any other questions or discussion? Seeing none. The recommended motion is that report 2024-034 titled Floodplain Mapping Implementation Plan 2024 be received, and that the board approves the Floodplain Mapping Implementation Plan as presented and be authorized to directed to do all things necessary to give effect to these resolutions. Could we get a mover and a seconder? Vice Chair Duguay, Director Vasiliadis, and all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Moves us to section C of our agenda. Item 2024-035, Hope Mill Roof Update. And again, I will pass it over to CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this report is for information for the board There have been some site meetings and discussions with the Friends of Hope Mill to assess the roof. The roof over many years has had some patchworks done. However, we've reached a point where something more permanent needs to happen. So I really just wanted to bring this issue to the board's attention. Staff are going to continue to work with the Friends of Hope Mill on a capital campaign. So the board members might see that capital campaign being launched. We also have identified a few grants that might also be a good fit for this project. And so we have another meeting, a site meeting with Friends of Hope Mill in early September. So more work to come, but just really wanted to raise this matter to the board's attention, given the scope of the project. And I'm happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jeanette. Director Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jeanette, unfortunately, I can't remember what's on it now for a roof, although I've only been in by that building 1,000 times. But is there during the preliminary discussions, is it suggested that we try to put a roof on that's, I don't know what's the right term, period appropriate, that is suitable for an older structure like this, or are we thinking something much more modern like a steel roof? Have we had those level of detail or discussions yet?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the Friends of Hope Mill, so the current roof is like a cedar shake mill, and it's had some repairs. Some years ago, it also had a fire. Some of you might remember that. But and so there have been patchworks, but the Friends of Hope Mill are, I'm going to say, suggesting that it should be a more modern type of a roof that would last. So a steel or a metal roof is what they're looking for. The design of the actual mill is also quite unique. And so it would obviously take in some design engineer work in terms of things. So we've reaching out to engineers that have this special skill set around designing metal roofs, historic roofs, that can help us in terms of our just initial gathering. I should have also added, Mr. Chair, the Friends of Hope Mill also have initiated a campaign of their own, and they are willing to make some capital, make some funds available for this, so a contribution towards the roof themselves. So it will be a combination of funding that will help this project move forward.
Thank you, Director Taylor.
Yeah, follow up if I can, Mr. Chair. Jeanette, you did mention in your report that the Friends of Hope Mill were willing to contribute towards the project. And there's a couple of ways that they can do that. First of all, obviously, if they can raise funds, that helps a lot. But they have within their list of volunteers, they have several engineers who might be able to lend expertise as far as design for the roof goes. And obviously, I think they would be very willing to supply any lumber that's needed. So between those two areas right there, they can assist us a great deal, even before they get the fundraising. And it's not out of line to ask them. I know this group really well. They'd be happy to help in any way they can, including their very skilled list of engineers there. So
yes,
don't be shy. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Wilford.
Years ago, John Boyko and Ron Black might remember this. They used to make the cedar shake shingles right there. Orca, believe it or not, used to sell the cedar shake shingles, and they used to be stored at Warsaw Caves. I have no idea over the years that have gone by if they still do that. Is that material that material would be gone, I would guess. But do they still make cedar shake shingles there for that place? And they used to sell them. Do you have any idea?
So through the chair, my understanding is they do not make the cedar shake any longer. They've moved on to other types of products that they do there. So I heard the comments also about volunteers and their own capacities and expertise. We're looking at all of those options in terms of how to move the project forward.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on this report? Seeing none, I recommend a motion that report 2024-035 Hope Mill roof update be received, and that staff be authorized and directed to do all things necessary to give effect to these resolutions. Could we get a mover and a seconder for that? Director Taylor, Director Wilford, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. On to item C2, 2024-036, our second quarter finance and activity report. We have our report and 3 appendices, and I will turn it over to CAO for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, with our second quarter performance objectives, I can say things are tracking really well. I've listed out a number of, in the various color codes where we stand. I don't have any concerns that we won't be able to meet. We will successfully meet all of those by the year end. Again, this is second quarter, so this is until the end of June in terms of things. So they're tracking very well. With respect to the second quarter finance variance report, I wanted to highlight a few things there, Mr. Chair, if I can. So again, spending is tracking as normal. We usually have, it's very typical for us to have a larger expenses at the beginning of the year, i.e. as an example would be insurance. Our revenues for our permits are tracking lower than year over year. But again, I'm just raising that as information. This is again until June the 30th, so things easily can turn around for permits. And then also we haven't received some of our provincial money. And our capital budget is doing well. We have staff have really focused in on the capital projects. Again, it's being funded from a 2023 surplus. We have really focused in on projects that are risk related, liability related. And then we've obviously had a very busy summer. So some of these other projects might be a carryover into future capital budgets. But at this point, I don't have any concerns to raise to the board's attention. And the last appendices C, again, we've had a very busy second quarter, as you can see from the reports and the timelines. And we've received a number of significant planning files over the last while. So just again, highlighting, this is a bit of a first for us, but it did take us a little longer to finish that. So 44 days from the normal 30 days in terms of those larger subdivision files that we had. Happy to answer any questions that the board may have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jeanette. Is there any comments, questions, or discussion on our second quarter finance? Seeing none, doing a great job keeping things on track. Our recommended motion is that report number 2024-036, second quarter finance and activity report, be received for information. We get a mover and a seconder. Director Black, Director Vasiliadis, all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. That moves us to item C3, 2024-037, our CAO monthly activity report. And I will turn it back over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So since my last report, I've taken the opportunity to have a few meetings with municipalities, which I do appreciate our working relationship with. I would like to hire that. Bring awareness to that. And I also have scheduled the municipal presentations now, so they will take place over the coming weeks. I've started them this week. I was at Trent Hills municipality, and then a number of municipalities over the coming weeks and to the end of September. So I'm looking forward to seeing each of you in your council chambers. And the only other thing I would like to raise from the report is we did try. We put a really solid business case to the province around our Section 39 natural hazards and transfer payment funding that we receive. It's been static for many, many, many years, but we didn't receive any additional funding. But it was very good for us to walk through that process of putting together a business case and why the extra funding is required. That's all I would really like to highlight, Mr. Chair, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jeanette. Director Baldwin.
Jeanette, thanks for your work on that. Unfortunately, there was no more money forthcoming. Do they ever give you a reason why? Were there many more submissions that were superior to ours, or it's just a case of there's only so many dollars for so many conservation authorities? Could you give us a little insight there? Do you get feedback?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, I did not get any official feedback. I do know that the overall funding to the 36 conservation authorities has been the same amount for many, many years. And so if the overall bucket, if you will, wasn't going to increase, it really would mean, someone else not getting what they normally would get. The business case was actually a very good business case, and I did get some feedback on that. So the ministry staff appreciated that. But that was the feedback really overall. Director
Thanks for
Baldwin.
that. It's kind of unfortunate that the province doesn't at least increase the grant by the rate of inflation, even if it's the Ontario rate of inflation. I think that's something that they should be obligated to do. All of the other municipalities that we deal with here, they've got inflation built into their budgets and things. It's kind of shameful that the province doesn't do the same thing, because the amount of dollars that we've got is certainly the amount of it's eroding if we don't increase it by inflation. So maybe in the future submission, I didn't see what you presented, but that might be a way around if the province is willing to at least look at something like that down the road. Thanks,
Right.
Mr. Chair.
And Mr. Chair, if I might, we also had taken the consideration that, we demonstrating through the business case that we needed the additional funding to carry out the Section 39 activities that the province is asking us to do. They produce a guideline document and things that we need to follow. But so we are following along that and identifying things that over the years we could have included in the past budget requests. But we are going to continue to do that. I think it's incumbent on us to continue to put that in front of the province so that they understand what it is that we need or required from their funding to actually, do the provincial directives around it. So we'll continue to do this, and eventually perhaps we'll get answered.
Thank you, Jeanette. I've got Director Boyko, and then we'll go to Director Black. John?
I have one comment related to Mr. Baldwin's comments, and then a question to Jeanette. The comment is when the Selwyn Council was at the Roma conference in January, we made a presentation to the appropriate minister regarding library funding. And MPP Smith was there with us and supported us in the fact that library funding has not increased for municipalities since 1995. And so it's not just conservation authorities that are in this wicket, and it's wrong. It doesn't make it any more right. It just makes it even more pressing that it is not just this government, that successive governments understand that freezing funding is equivalent to cutting funding. My question through you, Mr. Chair, to Jeanette, I'm very happy to hear that you are visiting townships and hope that you will be visiting Selwyn Township. Is Selwyn Township on your schedule for September?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes. I will be coming to your council on Tuesday, September the 10th.
Oh, I look forward to that conversation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Director Black?
Yeah, thank you through you, Chair Mike. I'm going to pile on the province a little bit here too. My example is Peterborough Public Health. They've had 2 increases in the last 15 years, and if it wasn't for the great job public health did with COVID, the province has promised to give us 1% for the next 2 years. And they're expecting a big pat on the back for that, of course, which just means again the payers, the county and the city, have to come up with more money each year. So it shouldn't be a shock. I know it's not a shock to Member Baldwin, but it's just there's so many examples out there, as Mr. Boyko has mentioned also, where funding has been and successive governments. It's not just this government. It's all governments that have taken over at the provincial level have not don't recognize that that's a problem.
Thank you, Ron. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, our recommended motion that the board report number 2024-037 CAO Secretary Treasurer monthly activity report be received for information. If we get a mover and a seconder, Director Wilford, Director Ashmore, all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. That moves us to item C4, 2024-038, our media highlights. Does anyone have any questions or comments on our media highlights? We always seem to get a fair amount out there in the media. It's great to see that we stay ahead and on top, that everyone sees what Orca is up to and the good work that we do. I will take a motion to receive the media report. Director Baldwin, Director Huntley, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And that moves us on to our correspondence. We have our 2024-039 correspondence. We have one letter there. Is there any discussion, questions, or comments on our correspondence? Director Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clear one portion of this letter up for the board. It is incorrect when the writer says that the township canceled the rezoning meeting for some unknown reason. That is not at all correct. The applicant decided not to proceed, which is why the meeting was canceled, but we did not cancel that meeting. Just wanted to clear the air on that one.
Thank you, Joe, for that comment. Jeanette, is there any comment back on that, or we're just going to receive that information?
I think we'll just receive it, Mr. Chair.
That's good. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, can I get someone to move the acceptance of the correspondence for this evening? Director Huntley, Director Black, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. I don't believe we have. Is there anything in open forum? Don't see anyone jumping. All right, that takes us to our closed session. Can we get a motion to move into closed? Director Wilford, Director Vasiliadis, all those in favor? Excellent. We'll just take a couple minutes to get organized here to go into our closed session.
Live streaming is canceled. Chair.
Thank you, Shelby. Are we Are we ready to go into close, Jeanette?
Mr. Chair, we're just gonna give it we're just gonna give a few seconds while it takes a delay there to stop it. Shelby, I can still see the YouTube on my screen.